There's a huge role that business and other organizations have to play in being able to drive agendas that really help girls to become educated and ultimately become empowered. At Girl Effect, we really look to partner with private sector and businesses because they have a lot to offer that the development sector, and we have a lot to learn from them. I think in terms of business, be curious. I think a lot of times we already start with the solution and we don't take the time to go ask people who are trying to serve what they want and what their needs are. So that would be one thing that business could take away. Be open to how you define success. Even if the objective is girls completing secondary education, for example, there might be other really important root causes that are limiting a girl's ability to complete education. So you really need to look holistically at her world to understand the barriers and the opportunities to make sure that the solutions are going to be sustainable. So a girl-centered strategy is something that is a fundamental principle for Girl Effect. We never assume that we know what girls need or want. They are not homogeneous, they have complex needs, and they live in very different communities and societies, and we really need to take time to understand what that is. And so for us, Girl Insights are at the heart of everything that we do. We take time before we create any solution to go in and really understand their reality, to paint a holistic picture. So for business, that is something that, stop and take the time, go speak to those who you're trying to create solutions for, and therefore you're going to be able to have a much stronger impact. One thing that's also really important is around do no harm principles. Safeguarding is a really important thing. So in your delivery of whatever program you're doing, but also in the process of how you develop that program, you really need to take into account factors that might put girls at harm and do everything that you can to mitigate those proactively when designing programs for them. And then lastly, I think, really focus on her whole world. Girls don't live in bubbles, and we need to look at the complexity of their reality. And girls are going to tell you themselves exactly what they need and what they want. So they are definitely a key stakeholder in developing their own solutions together with sectors like business. So I think this generation is quite possibly benefiting the most from change that's happening at such an accelerated pace, and technology has an incredible role to play in that accelerated change. I think we need to be a little bit cautious as well that technology is not a silver bullet, and even though there are huge technological advances, we need to make sure that we also design for girls who don't yet have access to things like smartphones. And so a couple of ways that we've dealt with that is to innovate with technology on how we get girl insights. We have a methodology called TEGA, which is Technology-Enabled Girl Ambassadors. We've used innovative mobile technology to train young women to go into their own communities and themselves get authentic insights about their own reality. This is a way that we are closing the gender data gap and also enabling us to design programs that are based on true insight from girls. We also know that today there are 200 million women, fewer women, who have access to mobile phones than men. And we know that in the next 5 years, 2/3 of new mobile subscribers are going to be women. This is a huge opportunity, and Girl Effect knows that right now, that when girls and young women get connected online, there's not a lot of relevant and meaningful content for them, and it actually can put them at risk. So we want to get ahead of that curve and design content that can go out to them now, so when they do get connected, it's a safe environment. And so we have a global platform called Springster, which is a partnership with Facebook's Free Basics, in which in 66 countries we're producing content that is safe and relevant and meaningful in enabling girls to access content as well as conversations. Today has been fascinating to bring together sectors that don't normally have an opportunity to take time and talk. There's always an agenda, there's always an objective, and there's always an output that is needed. And so today has to have this space to ideate and to share what doesn't work and pose questions out to our friends in different sectors. That's how innovation happens. That's how ideas are sparked. And so that's been a massive takeaway for me today.